Using a scrap piece of 2x4 and only one hand tool that doesn't even plug in, you'll profit $1,200 from this beginner-friendly woodworking project, which is in fact the most money that I have ever made off of a single piece of construction-grade lumber. Perhaps you don't own a hand plane because they seem like a hassle. Maybe you bought one, but got frustrated and have stuck to sanding ever since. But for this project, we need a hand plane. $16.99 will pick you up one at Harbor Freight, not sponsored. First, we need to slice off a few of these ribbons, but we need some better looking ones. If you guys don't have a workbench yet, head on over to whosthevoss.com. I supply free build tutorials, free plans, free everything that I offer here on the channel. Because in the beginning, YouTube was a teaching platform. And now a lot of people use it as a stepping stone to get into your pockets. And how do you make beautifully thin ribbons with your hand plane? You sharpen it. And I'm only spending 120 seconds on this topic because if you pick this up from Harbor Freight today, it is sharp enough to make ribbons to complete this project. However, they're not as perfect as they could be if you spend 2 minutes doing what I'm going to show you right now. Two methods I recommend as a beginner. You can get a 320 and 600 grit sanding sheet. Start out with the more coarse, move on to the fine. You're going to just spray adhesive this onto a piece of glass, a mirror, something that is perfectly flat, not your workbench. The honing block includes a couple different grits from 200, 300, 400, and 600. You'll work your way up just depending on how butter knifey your blade seems. You're just going to set your blade down on your workbench and you're going to see right there, see that little blade bevel? Perfect. I made this little contraption. It's actually almost too big for these tiny little blades. Just an 1.5 inch dowel rod, little piece of plywood, 2 screws in the top, and with our blade at that nice little angle, you're going to put this on top. We've just created a honing jig that works on any angle of blade that we're using, whether it's hand plane blades, chisel blades. We can sharpen them all by finding that degree of angle, just pushing the blade into this jig. I've also added a piece of tape to the back of our honing block because I want to sand the very point of my blade, not my honing jig. And lastly, take a Sharpie, run it across that very front of your blade. That way we can make sure that we're removing a consistent amount of material and we're not making a flat spot or a hump in the end of our blade. Even this honing block is quite thin, so make sure that your blade is staying on the very top and not wandering off side to side. That way your blade is consistently sharp along the entire front edge. When the Sharpie line disappears from the bevel of your blade, you might start to feel a little burr kicking up on the top, and that's completely normal. Take a metal ruler, set it parallel to your honing block, and then just put your blade on like this, about 1/2 inch over, tilt it down, and you're going to run it parallel to your honing block best you can. And to check how sharp your blade is, you can do the old fingernail trick, which is where you just run it along your fingernail, and you can see it begins to shave off just a bit of your fingernail. That's a pretty sharp blade. And to reset my hand plane so that it's cutting like day one, which maybe it is day one, I just put my blade so it's too high up, so when I run it across my material, it's not making contact at all, it's way too high. And then I just do quarter turns down until it starts to bite into the material. You'll see it cut on 1/2 or the other half, and just make little micro adjustments until it's exactly how I want it. You'll need a way to stop your board from shooting into Texas when you're planing it down. Maybe you can use mind control. We know it exists. If you have a bench dog system, you can just plug in one of those little stoppers. Bada bing. Otherwise, if you're working at your kitchen table, put a piece of board, clamp it down. Works all the same. Then you just go on slicing ribbons until your little heart's content, or your wrists start to hurt. Either one. As I'm slicing and dicing and feeling it right here in my back the next day, I separate my shavings into 2 piles. The first one are these tissue paper thin little wastes. They don't really mean anything to us for this project. And the second one, you say, heck yeah, every time you finish a pass, because they are perfect full length curls. And that is what we're going for. That's why we sharpened our blade. Additionally, you're going to need some super glue. I prefer this Loctite super glue. It comes in this container. Don't buy this one, the one that I'm shaking. That one's a bad super glue. I only keep the bottle because it's bad super glue, and I want to tell you it's bad super glue. It doesn't hold anything. You're going to need some scissors. Go grab them from your kitchen. I said this was one tool. And then some sticks. So maybe 1/4 inch what is that, 11 inches? Yeah, chicken, I don't know why these are selling so good. They're made out of literal sticks. Take one of your curls and gently unroll it like Nicolas Cage did the Declaration of Independence. Take your scissors, just nip off the end here, probably 30-degree angle, and then you're going to do it again so that we create this little trapezoid, is what they're called. And you're going to continue that all the way down. You come to a little rough spot, you could just nip it off. Yeah, I can use this. So that part is junk. We're getting to be pretty curly at the bottom. It doesn't super matter, but yeah, that one's done. And you'll keep cutting those trapezoid shapes until you have 20 to 30 of them, or you can just keep going until your pile's gone, because I got orders to fill. Next, we're going to take a couple of our trapezoid pieces. We're just going to stack them up so that all those little pointy spots are in the same place. Doing 2 or 3 of them at a time. I'm not doing these each individually. Take a pair of scissors, and we are just going to cut off and round the tops so that those points are gone. You don't have to do the bottoms. Those aren't important. Just that scales don't have pointy edges. And then you're going to repeat that for this entire pile. Show you just one more time, because I'm not doing the filming and speedy up thing. It takes too much time. Around the edge, around the edge. Pretty basic. You got it. How'd you get that many done so fast? Kind of look like a little stack of Pringles. And with your delicious stack of Pringles, notice I didn't call these potato chips because just like Pringles, these aren't made out of potatoes. Look it up. With your little stack, you're going to get your little pile of sticks. I prefer sticks that are about 1/4 inch in diameter. If you go with these really small ones, you're going to have a bad time. And let me show you why. You know how you can make duct tape flowers out of duct tape? Been doing it for a long time. These are really old photos, but they turn out pretty cool. I thought, what if I made them out of my wood shavings that I keep having a whole bunch? Take your stick, 1/4 inch, because these really tiny guys, we need to wrap this first piece around, and it's just too small. So try to find one that is a nice 1/4 inch. If you can cut the ends of them to be nice and flat, that's great. You can remove the bark. That looks better sometimes than leaving the bark, because roses don't have bark like regular trees on them. You're going to take that petal. You're going to take some super glue. I'm going to put it inside this very bottom lip. It's going to be about 1/4 inch up. You don't want it right near the bottom, because you're going to start super gluing your hands together. Wrap it around. Don't worry about that break. It pretty much happens every time. Wrap it around. Kind of keep your fingers in motion. Notice how I'm kind of curling them so they don't get stuck to the stick. Just like that, this whole thing's going to break off, but watch this. Take another little dab of super glue and glue this part just down a little bit. That'll be fine. It's not going to matter here in just a moment. Usually your first one is going to break because, again, it's really tight and these are thin and they break. You're going to take your next one, do that same thing. A little bit of super glue, about 1/4 inch up. Wherever your petal stopped last time, I usually go in thirds. I don't like to keep them right next to it, but you're going to wrap them around just like so. These first couple can be really tight together. We'll go over the next step and how you space them out in just a moment, but you need to create this little center space, and keeping them pretty tight together is how you do it. This one, I'm going to leave my finger right where it's at. I'm actually going to transition to my thumb. I'm going to leave my thumb in it. I'm going to push it up against those others, and you'll notice this time it kind of is more coned out because I left my thumb there instead. I can feel this finger getting hot. That means there's super glue right next to it, but I'm still doing okay. And now they've began to fan out. If you kept them all really close, it's going to take a whole bunch of petals. Super glue, thumb. This one's right here. I don't want it right on the other side. I like to kind of put them into thirds. Keep your thumb inside of it. Wrap it like this. Wait for the glue to dry. And I'm trying to keep all of them about the same height. I don't want them to go down. I don't want them to go up. I'm trying to keep them all the same, so as we go, it begins to make a flower. Once you get a couple petals going around the outside and you have a cylinder, take one of these really cute little curly guys, cut them off. I'm going to add a drop or two of super glue right down on the inside. I'm going to take the part that I did not cut, have it near the top. I'm going to push it down inside here. I'm going to just very light pressure. I don't want to crush it, so it gets into the super glue and hangs out. Put in our center, so that way it makes it look like it twirled all the way down, when in fact it didn't. If you don't want your fingers to be in the super glue, if you're gluing really close to an edge, just use a flat blade screwdriver, Phillips screwdriver, really doesn't matter. Just kind of suppress it down until it has a second or two to dry. And once you have a couple petals, I like to add a little bit of super glue just down near this bottom base, and that keeps this entire rosebud petal thing from pulling off of our stick. Because once you've glued on your first petal, you're really attaching the second petal to the first petal, the third petal to the second petal, and the fourth petal to the third petal. So this could just completely come off. There's really not a lot holding it onto the stick, except for that very weak little petal that already broke on us. So just add a couple drops of super glue, and then I just wait because my hands are going to clearly get into that. Once that's dry, tally-ho, put the other 30 of those on there. I'll show you what it looks like here in just a sec. And yeah. And once you have a flower made, you can stop right there. If you have a bandsaw, cut out a little heart. If you have a drill out a size hole to match the stick at a slight angle. You've got one of these bad boys. Otherwise, just keep making those flowers, bang out an entire bouquet of them, throw them in a vase, couple pebbles. Now you're making money. Since my only video that does not have a pricing breakdown is just getting attacked by other content creators trying to defame the king of small projects, that's myself, because they don't know how to do math. My video also has 2 million views. That could have something to do with it. I'll put a link in the description for all these. If you're going to go watch their video, can you make sure to comment, just put who's the boss is awesome in the comment section of their video. Don't make it more than 7 words, because then they get engagement credits. Keep it under 7 words. Who's the boss is awesome. That's all you got to put. It almost rhymes. Do that. $1,200 is a pretty gigantic claim off of one 2x4x8. Now this guy is 21 inches right now, and I still have a heck of a lot of them left after creating these. The bouquet selling for $120 each. This little flower selling for $25 each. Again, I also have the oak piece. Yeah, you're going to have some scrap wood. $145 right here. I still have a heck of a lot of material left, so I could still get 3 additional ones from this single piece, bringing me to $435. Now that piece is gone, but I still have 3 more pieces of material because it used to be an 8-foot board. So times 435 by 4, I'm at $1,740. But Aaron, that's not all profit because you're gonna have to pay for the vase and whatnot. 12 sticks from outside, they were free. I got 12 count of these beads, $1.97 each, brings me to $23.64 for the total of 12. 12 vases at $3.97, $47.64 tied up right there. The 2x4 was $4, so I'm looking at $75.28 in cost. $1,740 minus my $75.28, $1,664.72 is my take home. And that number is quite a bit larger than my $1,200 claim, which means you just have room to bring these prices down a little bit depending on your area's demographic. I have an entire video on when to sell what products. Go and check that one out. I also have one on where to sell products. If you're looking online, craft shows, it breaks down all the profits across all of the platforms. I sold the same item to the same person for the same cost, everything the same, and I got to see how much it cost in fees and listings and all that fun garbage. And yes, these adorable little hand planes, they work. It's a real hand plane. It's just really tiny. For chicken. But there's a quote I really like. It says, some people will love your work, some people will hate it, but both are paying attention. So give them a good show. And that's what I'm trying to do here today.